coming up with some great ideas, promoting your infographics, and then actually, getting that traffic to you. So let's get started. We'll cover the really simple stuff first. So what is an infographic? Well, an infographic is basically a really, really simple way, a nice, attractive way of actually conveying information, and this can be really complex information visually. So you're talking about just like short, some really nice, attractive images combined with some short, punchy facts. And this, for people that use their left side of the brain, for people that are visual learners, this is really, really easy way to actually kind of understand something really complex very, very quickly, very, very easily. So it's a great way of conveying information. Now, of course, infographics can contain a lot of data, but you don't actually need to share all of the information that you might want to share within an infographic. Equally, as a visual means of representing data, you don't actually need to. You're not going to be sharing that kind of information in the same way as you would do, for example, if you're going to be creating a guest post. So, like I said before, what you're going to be looking to do is actually create some, short, punchy facts. So you're looking like 1, 2 sentence statements essentially that will be concise, hard-hitting, and to the point. They really, really get that information across. And all of these facts, all of this data will be backed up with some great graphics. And that's really what you're going to be aiming to do. So now you've got a sense, if you hadn't already, of exactly what an infographic is, and why they're actually so powerful. So let's actually dig a bit deeper. Let's get into this a bit more and kind of cover the really important facts, which are actually how to go about finding, like I said before, how to go about actually finding great topics for infographics, because there's lots and lots of great topics that you can use out there for infographics, which have kind of been killed already by guest posting. And then how to go about creating your infographic, which I'll also be covering shortly, and kind of showing you how to go about creating those infographics with Youzign. And then the last step, and one of the most important steps, which is actually promoting your infographic, kind of getting it out there, and then reaping the benefits, which is the last part, reaping the benefits of creating some really, really nice, a nice means of conveying data and promoting your business or your site or whatever it happens to be. Okay, so let's get started. So what the real key point here is basically, if you're going to be creating a really great infographic that's going to drive real traffic towards your site, the two most important factors that you should actually be looking at are relevancy and traffic volume. So what you need to do is you need to find something that's obviously relevant to your niche and that's going to attract a lot of traffic towards your site. Simple, right? Now, coming up with ideas might seem like it's going to be really, really complicated. It doesn't need to be. Let me go quickly off topic here a bit and kind of give you a bit of an example. So, for example, looking at the fashion industry, like if you've been around for a while, and I'm getting past 30 now, so I've been unfortunately around for a lot longer than I'd like to be. I'd like to be a lot younger than I am. You see a lot of these same kind of designs coming back from the past, and suddenly from 30 years ago, like I said, what was out of fashion or what was in fashion then suddenly comes around again, and it's in fashion now again. But all that time in between, it was completely out of fashion. You wouldn't dream of wearing it. And there's really quite a simple reason for this. Great ideas never lose their edge. They just need to be actually reshaped. So it's basically the way people perceive them and the way they're sold. And it's the same with the majority of actually online content. Online, only a tiny percentage of people are actually creating original content. Now, of course, there's some real innovators out there, and you want to be part of that kind of like the innovative group. But in addition to that, you can also, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can also find really, really good content that's proven to be good content, that's proven to have a huge audience, and you can reshape it like fashion. You can reshape those kind of ideas and make them really bling, essentially. So you can change them from a guest post format, or from a post format, or from one of those ultimate post formats that everyone kind of talks about in this marketing niche, and change the whole, change it around a bit, turn it into a really attractive infographic, and boom, you suddenly added a new edge, a new kind of idea towards, well, a new way of looking at an old idea. And this is how you can create really, really good content, just by looking at proven content that works. And the great thing about this is, like I said before, a lot of this proven content is actually normally in the form of articles, because we killed articles to death. Everyone who runs a blog writes an article. Most of the business sites have a blog on the site where they're writing articles. So, everyone's writing the same articles over and over again. If you look at look at whatever popular article you might find on the internet, and I guarantee there's going to be about 100 variations of that article. So the best movies from 2014, 10 best movies from 2014. If you go and Google that now, I guarantee you'll find a million different variations of people who have written that same content over and over and over and over again in different ways, right? So all these people are writing the same things. You go and do exactly the same search and look for infographics. I'd be surprised if you find more than one or two actually infographics about this topic. Now, I'm not saying that you should be creating an infographic about the 10 best movies of 2014, but that's kind of just to give you an idea of how much people actually focus on creating posts and creating articles instead of kind of looking for alternative ways of actually promoting their content, which can be really, really effective. And the really, really great thing about infographics, of course, is they're very, very easy to share. You can have a look at it in a second. You pick up the key information. If you think it's attractive, if you think it's useful for you or for your friends or for your audience, then boom, you can share it in a second, and it goes and goes and goes down social media. You don't need to spend 15, 20 minutes reading a complex article. It's just there. 30 seconds later, you understand exactly what was in that infographic. It's conveyed the information. Hopefully you'll have seen the link back to the website of the person who created it, and that's how it works. So like I said before, what you really need to do basically when you're starting to look at content is you want to try and identify what's popular within your niche, and you want to see what they did right. Okay, so the concept's pretty easy. What you'll need to do, of course, is you'll need to start finding that content, finding those people, finding that content, and then looking about how to create that content for yourself. So let's have a look at what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you a couple of different tools that I personally use when I go about actually researching online, when I go about trying to find content that I think will work for my audience. These are the kinds of tools I use. So let me share them with you. So to start off with, Alltop. Now this site is actually the best blog. It basically lists the best blog in almost every industry. All you need to do is you go to alltop.com, you just enter the niche and relevant keywords in the search tool, and you can identify suitable sites basically, because they're automatically picking out the best sites that are in your niche. So if you don't know all of the best sites in your niche, or if you're just looking to kind of expand on your knowledge of what are the best sites in your niche, Alltop's a really, really good resource. It's a really, really good tool for finding sites in your niche that are proven to be popular. Similar to Alltop, another alternative is Technorati. Now Technorati actually lets you find, like I said before, relevant websites in any niche. Now I don't always like to use just one tool to do one task. Sometimes I use different tools because they do also kind of come up with different solutions or different answers essentially for the same task. So I like to always kind of use different tools. So you could choose to use just one, or you could do what I do and use two. So Technorati and Alltop, like I said before, good tools for actually finding websites in your niche. Follower Wonk is also a great tool, and this actually helps you identify influential people within your niche. And it does this by looking at a person's social media profile. So basically, if you go and look at follower one and you kind of do some research on that, what you'll see is any of the sites, and you'll be able to see kind of like the social media profile and how many likes they get from Google Plus, etc., etc. And the simplest way of finding people within your niche is obviously a search engine, because follower one, Technorati, all of these other kinds of stuff, obviously they use search engine features, so you could just go straight back to basics. You can use Google, and you can basically enter the term niche plus blog in Google, and yeah, you'll pretty much find relevant blogs that are going to be popular, that are ranking highly in Google. So I mean that's another very, very simple way. But like I said before, I'd use something like Technorati, and I'd use follower one because I think they're a better solution to Google, because they're a lot more specific. So it's a good way of kind of finding that information. But like I said before, Google's also another tool that's obviously very, very versatile, very easy to use. Now, we kind of covered how to go about finding all of these websites, and I'm sure actually for the majority of you here, you'll actually know, the big blogs in your niche, kind of the people that are getting all of that audience, kind of getting the audience that you want for your website or that you want for your business. So you're going to have a fair idea of kind of who are the big players. Now, what you want to do, of course, is you want to become one of those big players for yourself. You want to get part of that audience. You want to expand your audience. You want to expand the amount of clients that you get. So to do this, you obviously need to dig deeper, right? It's no good just identifying who are the big players in your niche. You need to find a way of becoming one of those big players yourself. Now, to actually find the most popular content, and like I said before, if you're going to be using infographics as a way to kind of generate that interest in your website or generate that interest in your service, you'll need to look, or you should be looking, for the most popular content that works with your niche, that works with your audience, that's been proven to work. So to do this, basically you go, like I said before, after you've identified all of the popular sites within your niche, what you want to do now is you'll basically look for the most popular content within that niche, or sorry, the most popular content on those sites. Now there's a really, really simple way of doing this, of course. On most websites, most blogs, you'll have a popular content tab on the right-hand side, and it will just list the most popular content from that website. So that's a really, really easy, really simple way of obviously finding popular content. But there's obviously other tools there that give you a different way about going out, finding what the popular content is, and different ways about going about doing this. One tool that I actually use quite a lot is on quicksprout.com. So it's run by an internet marketer called Neil Patel. Basically, he's got a really, really good tool on the home page. So if you put in quicksprout.com now, for example, you basically have a great tool, and what you do is you input the URL of whatever the website that you've just identified from actually going about finding out what the most popular websites are in your niche. You go and enter that website URL into quicksprout.com, and what it will do is it will do an analysis of that website. So part of what it does is it basically breaks down all of the posts within that website and kind of looks at the posts from a social media perspective. So it kind of looks at how many shares that each of the posts got. So it basically lists all of the posts, and then you can see like which of the posts got the most shares and across social media. So it's a really, really good, really simple kind of solution of seeing like what's the popular content that really, really got shared across different sites. So that's a great starting point and a great tool. And then the other method that you can go about finding out what the most popular content on a website is obviously having a look at the backlink profile of a website, kind of using research tools like Open Site Explorer. Now, if you haven't got an account with Open Site Explorer, you can actually use it for free. So there's like a limitation on how many searches you can run on a day, but you can use it for free basically to do a couple of searches a day. and just have a look at the backlink profile. But just using Quick Sprout is actually a really, really good simple way of kind of finding out what the most popular content is across that website. So what you'll want to do at this stage, in fact what you'll want to do just a bit before, is create a nice Excel sheet, and what you're looking to do is you'll identify the most popular websites in your niche. So just kind of list them in the Excel sheet, and then after that you'll try and identify the most popular content across all of those different websites, and then you just list them in your Excel sheet. So you're basically storing the data, and then you can start comparing the data. You can start identifying kind of what's the most popular content. And this is what you can do from blogs. Now, an alternative to actually looking at blogs is kind of looking across forums and other kinds of social sites. So kind of a couple of different places where I look for content, where I'm not going to be looking specifically at blogs, is Ubersuggest, which actually helps you understand what consumers are searching for. So what you can do is you can enter a niche relevant term on a website, and it comes up with a list of ideas about kind of search queries related to that term. So this is kind of reversing Google, so you can actually see what people are searching for. Quora is a really, really good site, really interesting, has lots of content. Unfortunately, it's a place where I waste too much of my life, but it has got some very, very good content. And you like searching through a site like Quora, you can actually kind of, having a look at the upvote system, you can see what's really, really popular, because it's got a really engaged and large audience, so you can see what's really, really popular across a lot of different niches actually. So that's a nice place to get some content ideas of kind of proven popular content. Reddit is an obvious one. I mean, Reddit's huge, and it's got sub forums. So that's obviously a good place to kind of get an idea of what people within your niche are talking about and what kind of really excites them. So you're looking for stuff that's really, really engaging your audience, that you can transfer or translate into an infographic. And then, of course, there's going to be lots and lots of niche kind of specific forums. And once you've done all of this, once you've done all of the research, what you'll need to do, and like I said before, what you should do from the start, is have this Excel sheet where you're kind of listing all of your data as you collect it, because it's actually really, really important, really valuable data. Because understanding what your audience wants and is engaged in, this is kind of gold essentially. So you want to analyze your data, you have a look at your results, and what you'll actually find, and like I said before about this whole kind of not needing to reinvent the wheel, what you'll find is you do this for yourself, you actually see a lot of the same content reproduced over and over and over and over again across all of these different websites within your niche. And really it is, having done this multiple times myself, you kind of see like the same, 3 or 4, three of the top 10 almost guaranteed to be kind of the same topic over and over again across all of these different websites within your niche. So I mean, if again and again these kind of topics have become proven to be popular for all of these people, and of course it's going to work for you as well. If you can find the right way to promote it, if you can find the right way to kind of reshape that idea to make it sexy, to make it attractive to your audience, then you can really create a buzz about it. And this is where you can really, really make infographics work for you. So you've identified some really, really great ideas from having a look at from doing all of your research, from kind of analyzing who's big in your field, the content they're creating, the content that really, really excites your audience, looking at the forums, seeing what's really, really being talked about at the moment, seeing what's getting everyone hyped up, and then translating those ideas or a few of those ideas into an infographic. And then, of course, at this stage, you'll want to go about creating an infographic. Bear with me. So what I'll do, because I'm a big fan of using Youzign as a way of actually creating infographics, what I'll do at the moment is I'll show you what to do after you've used Youzign to create your infographic. and then I'll come back to it at the end, and I'll show you, I'll do a quick test example of how to go about creating a nice, attractive infographic on Youzign. But before I do that, let me go to the end stage. Theoretically, at this stage, I've created my infographic. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to promote your, promote your content. And this is actually where a lot of internet marketers actually go wrong. A lot of people that create content kind of, it doesn't quite work. And the really, really simple problem, of course, is that most people kind of think, you've identified a really, really great idea. You know it's popular. You know people are going to be interested in it. You've put a lot of time and effort into creating something that's really, should really engage your audience, should make everyone really excited, kind of looking around, it's a popular topic, it excites people. You press publish or you post it and nothing happens. And it surprises you, and I've done it myself, and it's kind of surprised me. I've created this really great resource. Why is no one excited about it? Well, the problem is you need to promote it in order to create that excitement, right? If you want to create that viral buzz, you need to create that buzz for yourself to start with. You need to kind of get that wheel to get a bit of traction so that it starts rolling, and as soon as it starts rolling, as soon as it starts to gain momentum, then that story can kind of go by itself. That infographic that you created can kind of get that rolling, get that kind of viral buzz. But it doesn't happen by itself. It very rarely happens by itself, because obviously it does sometimes happen by itself. But in the majority of cases, viral content is actually the result of hard work in terms of promotion, really pushing that topic out there. And as a general rule of thumb, what you're looking to actually do is spend 20% of your time actually creating content, and then 80% of your time is actually promoting that content. And that's a complete reverse of what most people do. So most people spend 80% of the time creating content, work hours and hours and hours creating something that's really great, work a whole day creating a beautiful infographic that looks absolutely amazing, and then you publish it and you don't tell anyone about it. You might tweet it on social media, you might share it on your Facebook page, and then that's it. And you think your job's done, but of course it's not. It's the complete reverse of this. You spend 20% of your time, however long it might take, creating that infographic, and then on top of that, then the hard work starts basically. After this, you'll need to spend 80% of your time actually promoting that content. So, even if you're maybe creating an infographic with Youzign is a bad example, because you can actually create a really nice infographic in 15 minutes, even less, 10 minutes. And so 80% longer than 10 minutes is not a long time. So maybe you want to put a bit more work into promoting it than that. But like I said, as a general rule of thumb, you want to be spending significantly longer, and 80% longer in most cases, promoting your content than you're actually creating your content. So how do you go about publicizing and promoting your content? How do you go beyond just kind of putting it on Twitter and hoping people pick it up? Now, of course, the basic thing is you need to actually go about writing to people within your niche, and kind of getting in contact with people who've created relevant content that's related to the infographic that you created. So you go back to Google, you go back to not all of the tools, you go back to using some of the tools that I kind of described previously, but Google is really one of the key ones. And you start researching who wrote about the topic that you about the infographic that you created. So for example, let's go back to this example of 10 best films in 2014. If you create a really nice infographic about the 10 best films in 2014 and some, funny anecdotal facts about each of the films that that got people really excited, or that you thought would really work, and that you've seen has really worked in your niche, in this case film, Then you go to Google and you go through all of the people that have written about this kind of topic, essentially, and you email them and you just say like, hey guy, just want to introduce myself. Just wanted to let you know I created I saw you were interested in films from 2014. I created this really, really nice infographic. Do you want me to send it over to you? You can check it out, have a look. I think it would, I think your audience would get excited about it. And then you just leave it at that, and you send and you send and you send, and you find people, and you send and you send and you send. And about 25% maybe of people get back to you and say like, hey, yeah, that sounds quite interesting, send it over. And then from that percentage that obviously was excited and thought, yeah, that's interesting, slightly less will be like, yeah, I'd like to promote that on my site, I'd like to put it on my site. So what you do to make it really, really simple is after they said they're interested in the site, what you'll do is you'll write a really, really nice, simple kind of introduction to your infographic, and then a nice little short bio to go with it, so that it relates back to your business. And the aim here is basically to create something that's really, really hassle-free. So all the person that's actually going to promote your infographic needs to do is actually, press post. They copy and paste the information, the short introduction that you created, and then they include your really, really nice infographic. Done. And this is really, really how it works. Kind of really push it. So basically what you're looking to do, just to go over things very, very quickly before we go on to, or I give you I'll do a quick demonstration from Youzign, is you'll want to identify people within your niche who are creating, who are the most popular people, kind of the real movers and shakers within your niche. That's step one. And then step two, you'll want to look at the content that they created, and then you'll identify the most popular content that they created using some of those kind of tools that I was talking about earlier. And then you'll list all of these kind of articles. That's step two. Step three, of course, you create your infographic. You create something that's really, really nice, based around kind of all of these ideas that you picked up that are proven to be really, really popular. And then finally, the final step, of course, is promoting your content. You get the word out there that you've created something that's really, really nice, really attractive, that is going to engage people if only they know about it. So that's the last step, is basically, promoting out-and-out promotion, really getting the word out there, getting engaged with your audience, and basically just networking, because this is essentially a huge part of becoming a successful businessman in any niche, is just networking, kind of creating those links. And it's a nice excuse to put your name out there, to connect with people within your niche. And that's it. That's how you go about coming up with some really, really cool ideas that will turn into, that have the potential to really turn into something viral, that will get you all of that traffic, that will start turning you into one of those movers and shakers that you want to be, that you want to, so you become one of those key people in the industry who people look up to. Okay, so I hope that's given you kind of few ideas about how to go about identifying some really, really cool topics for creating some really nice infographics, and actually how infographics can be a really, really great way of kind of getting out there and promoting information in a different way, like I was saying before. So I hope that's given you a few ideas about how to go about doing it. Let's look at actually in practice how to use a nice simple graphics tool like Youzign to actually create some nice graphics for you that you can use, and then you can push out there and you can publicize. So what I'll be doing is I'll just do a very quick demonstration, kind of looking at a few facts about infographics and why infographics are actually so popular. So let's quickly go through and choose a nice starting pattern for this infographic. I think we should maybe turn away from that that bright red, and do something a bit more toned down. And like I was just saying before, actually, about going back to this whole kind of infographic thing, and why I think infographics are actually such a really powerful medium for promoting your content. Apart from the fact that they're not, you know, that there's not as many people actually creating infographics. There's a huge interest in them, but in kind of relative to guest posting or kind of article writing, it's really not as big. It's hugely underutilized, but incredibly popular. So the other really great thing about infographics, and why I like them for using for my own business, is basically the fact that you create something that looks really nice, and then you can promote that same kind of infographic or that same content across the internet without any changes to everyone, as opposed to a guest post, for example, where you need to rewrite it every single time. An infographic is just, you know, you create something really nice, really appealing, and it's a one-shot wonder. Once you've created that really nice, interesting content, you're done essentially. Anyway, that's two of the reasons why I'm really a real big fan of infographics. Let's go through a few of the different fonts anyway, that you could be using for promoting your content. Now, Youzign has a huge actually selection of fonts, which is really good. And gives you a huge flexibility to actually be able to create lots and lots of different graphics very quickly, lots of personalized graphics very quickly. Why? I think what I'll do is I'll start off by asking a question, and then I'll mess about by creating a few more shapes. Give the infographic a bit of structure before I continue. So I'll just leave you with the why, while I focus on some other things of using some of the different shapes that you've got within Youzign to actually be able to play with stuff. And as I'm talking about Youzign, I'm not sure if there's going to be. Well, I think looking actually at the list, there's a couple of people here who haven't signed up to Youzign beta. So basically, at this stage, Youzign's in beta stage, so we're getting really close actually. It's coming towards the end of November, and in absolutely no time at all, we're talking about a few weeks now, in December, before Christmas, so you can consider an early Christmas present. We're actually going to be pushing Youzign beta live, or Youzign live, so it will stop being in the beta phase, and we're still adding kind of new features, and it will go live basically. So when the final few weeks of developing Youzign into a product that will be happy to be pushing to the general public, where we've kind of added the maximum amount of fantastic features possible. And so we're kind of at this final stage basically where we're almost ready to go live. And it's going to be quite exciting. And what we'd like to do, if you haven't already signed up to Youzign actually at the moment, is you can sign up and kind of be part of this beta stage for be part of the select few people that are actually in this beta stage, and kind of join us basically as we kind of add the final features and kind of be a part of creating some of the final features for Youzign. And talking about some of the final features, basically, what we've actually added, what we've managed to add, is some high definition graphics. Actually, this is one of the most recent additions to the software. So now Pixabay basically Youzign's linked into the Pixabay API, so we can pick out thousands and thousands and thousands of images from all across the internet. Or not from all across the internet, but from Pixabay. And so what we've done, though, is just this week we've managed to get access to the high definition graphics basically from Pixabay. And so now all of these images, just like that image that I was cropping very nicely into a round circle, are now all high definition actually, which is a really, really nice addition. So you can, within Youzign, you can actually start to basically, you know, grab lots of copyright-free images straight from Pixabay, and they're all going to be in high definition. You can just literally grab them and use them within the software. So that's a really, like I was saying before, as we're in this kind of the final stage, in this final stage of the beta stage, we're continuously adding some final features basically to this software, and this is one of the most recent additions, is this high definition kind of Pixabay images. Another feature that you just probably saw there as I was editing is those guidelines that kind of kick in basically, that help you align everything, so it's really, really easy to align everything. Another thing that I quite like doing is basically changing the color. So we've made the color changing very, very simple and easy, so you can just literally, you can pick colors from anywhere on the screen. So for example, if you need to make that pentagon blue, then green even, sorry, you can do it literally just by hovering the mouse over any kind of texture, and then you just grab it straight from there. Very, very simple, as you can see. And that's just one of the just literally like sorry, I should have been grabbing a different image. That's just one of the many features that we've been adding and have added to Youzign in the recent weeks as we reach the final stages of development basically of the software before it goes live to the general public. So we're in the last stages. It's really, really exciting to see how the software continues to be developed, and how we're kind of finding out all of the creases and making it work really, really easily, really, really nicely. So it's very, very simple for everyone to use. And this is a real focus here, making it very, very user-friendly. And what I might do is delete that and create a headline image. And within this beta testing stage, actually, what we're doing is we're trying to create a piece of software that really fits with our audience, who know exactly what they want to get out of this software. So we're creating this software basically that's specified to the needs of the beta testers, needs of existing customers who know what they want to use the software for, and just creating something that will really, really work and make it really simple, really intuitive and easy to use. And that's really what part of what the company is about, is kind of identifying what works for our customers and trying to create a personalized service that kind of fits with them essentially. And let's kind of just quickly duplicate that as we go in. What I could actually do is I could zoom in a bit, just make it a bit easier to use, and because it gets a bit fiddly, of course it gets a bit fiddly with the infographics, as you're dealing with quite a large area essentially. But with Youzign at the moment, we're not just limited to infographics. There's lots of different stuff that you can actually create, more than just infographics. So, for example, you can also use Youzign to create Twitter images, for example, Twitter header images. We can also use Youzign to create Facebook cover images, and there's a huge selection of basically of stuff that you can use Youzign for, that are kind of like already ready prepared kind of to the format. So we've got Kindle covers, and it's like a lot of different options. So it's immediately available, so you can any kind of graphic designer can get straight on there and kind of edit and create some really nice graphics for any kind of social media platform in no time at all, using some really simple software. Okay, and let's carry on with this infographic. Add a few more details to the why that we had earlier. Okay, so maybe what I'll start off by doing is choosing a different text. We'll go with Aave. And so, like I was saying before, these facts are all related to infographics. So I thought it would be quite interesting to create an infographic about infographics. And like I said before, infographics are a very popular way of sharing your content. And we can kind of see how popular they are by just seeing how shared they are across social media, for example. So in Singapore, you're getting 100 mentions a day, basically, about infographics, which should give you an idea of how popular infographics are within the country. Philippines, it's slightly less. We're looking at. I might spell Philippines wrong. That would be embarrassing. And then in the Philippines, it's slightly less. You're looking at 62 mentions a day, which isn't quite as much as Singapore. So obviously, there's something about Singapore that makes them excited about infographics. And finally, let's create a final one here. South Africa, we got 54 mentions of South Africa across social media on average a day. There you go. So let's continue to add and build on this. So what does this all kind of show you? Well, it kind of shows you that there's an increased interest over time in infographics. There you go. And we've really kind of packed the software kind of really full of as many features as possible, and you can really, as you can see there, it makes it very easy to edit. So if you've made a mistake, you can really quickly edit your mistake, or kind of if you get like a sizing wrong, essentially, if you're kind of trying to do things very quickly on the fly, and you need to adjust anything very quickly, you can really do that in seconds with Youzign. So it's really very simple to use. So increased interest over time. So that's our number one kind of thing that you can see about infographics is that they're becoming hugely popular. So let's go back to the why for a second. Quickly editing the text. I'm going to try and speed things up. We go on the why. So why are infographics so let's make that text a bit smaller, grab it across there, and you can kind of see as I do things very, very quickly just how easy it is to kind of grab and move and change things around and edit the color. And let's pick a nice yellow. Yeah, I think yellow goes very well with the blue. It's very, very quick and intuitive and easy to use. And of course, like I'm obviously quite used to using Youzign at this moment, and so I'm starting to do things a lot quicker and a lot smoother. And the more I use it, of course, the quicker I get, the more intuitive it is to use, and the quicker I can start creating some really, really nice designs. Of course, I'd like to be quicker still, but I'm working on it. There you go. Why are infographics so popular? And then we can have a quickly continuing with this whole duplicating, and you can see as you duplicate things just how simple it is essentially. And then we move on to what is, we can drag and drop. It's all very easy to use. And that's really the key here with creating a piece of graphic software, is really focusing on the ease of use, because this is really what great software is all about. It's being very, very flexible and very easy to use, so a beginner can kind of pick it up and in no time at all can really can start creating some really, really good graphics, really very simply, very easily. And this is obviously the aim that all kind of graphics companies aim to achieve, kind of really want to achieve. And this is kind of what we're getting closer to at the moment, is this ability to really create some really nice graphics, really simply, really easily. So infographics are a visual representation of data. So let's make that a bit smaller. And of course, spelling mistake. Representation of data. And then what's the most important thing about infographics? Well, they can convey complex information really quickly. So quickly and clearly. So like I said before, that's one of the really key things about infographics, is they can kind of transfer that really complex information very simply, so people can kind of, within seconds of looking at an infographic, you can see exactly what it's about. And there you go. You've got the eye as a visual representation of data, and that's a very quick starting point. And then within Youzign, what we've done as well is we've included, of course, most of the key kind of things that you would want from an infographic, for example, like infographics are really all about, like I said before, kind of conveying data very, very quickly. And so, one of the key things that you're really looking at when you're looking at infographics and conveying data is kind of, you're looking at pie charts, for example. And pie charts are used a lot within infographics, and they're really, of course, they're a really popular way and really clear way of conveying information. So what will we try to do? Well, we've included, and this is again something that we're doing within the beta stage. This is one of the features I'm really excited about. We've created a pie chart maker, so you can actually create really nice pie charts. So before Youzign actually goes live to the public, what we'll have is a nice feature that actually lets you create nice pie charts, which is, it's not only is it really good for infographics, but of course it's big and useful for a lot of other things. But the ability to kind of create some really nice pie charts really simply is a really nice touch. And this is kind of, again, one of these things that kind of we're adding as we go through development, constantly looking at new kind of features that we can add that will add value to you as a user, that will make your life creating some really nice graphics easier, that will make the time you kind of spend creating graphics, if you can make things very quickly, very easily, you save yourself time, you can increase your profits, you can do a million one other things that don't involve work. For example, if you've got a kid, you could spend that time kind of enjoying that time with your child, or that time saved could be time that you spend with your friends. And there's lots and lots of different things, of course, if you can save time, and this is what we've kind of created Youzign about, is making it really quick and making it very simple to make some really nice graphics, so you can save yourself some time and get on with your busy life doing the million and one other things that you need to do, that are kind of key tasks when it's one of those days when there's not quite enough hours in the day. Youzign's a piece of software that can kind of help you. Let's zoom in again, and as we go in, help you create stuff very quickly, help you create nice graphics that you can use for your business very quickly. And there you go, going back to using graphics. Let's bin that. Duplicate. Yeah, being able to create really nice graphics very quickly is pretty much what Youzign's all about. Let's zoom in yet again, and because of course you can see those guidelines kind of kicking in, just getting a bit fiddly there as I try to make a tiny bar graph under the pressure of trying to manage a webinar at the same time. But I'm slowly getting there, and you can get the idea that this is a bar chart, and how easy it is really to change all of the colors and to play around. And like I was saying before, there you go. Infographics are really all about visual data, and so we got pie charts, which are obviously really popular, and this is something that we've been focusing on with the development doing integration, creating this kind of pie chart maker, and then you've got the ability to create kind of bar charts, just using the simple lines. Again, we go through. And it's that flexibility of just kind of having all of these graphic tools to hand, having all of these different vectors to hand, and all of these kind of shapes are different vectors. Gives you that ability to kind of create anything very, very, very easily, and kind of gives you that real flexibility. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with the graphic system. Of course, you know, that's a starting point. I think you kind of get an idea of what you could kind of start creating for yourself. And I hope this kind of webinar gave you a few ideas of how useful Youzign could be, and actually the versatility of Youzign, and how you can use Youzign for so many different things, including, of course, creating some really, really nice graphics, nice infographics once you've got those ideas to hand. And kind of once you've identified some really, really popular content which you can actually use to promote, you know, to promote your site, to get people to come to your site, to get people to engage with your business. So I think we've kind of reached that stage at the moment at the webinar where I'll actually hand over this to Magnus, and I think Magnus has basically been collecting all of the questions that you might have had, and at this point, if you do have any questions, it would be really, really great to just kind of send over those questions, shove them into the question box.
Unmuted.
We can get around to kind of answering those questions, and Magnus has just come on now, so he's actually ready to start answering a few of those questions that you might have had. So I'll hand it over to Magnus.
Hello, thank you, Nico. My name is Magnus Illich, with the campaign manager at YMB Properties. I will now go through the questions we have got so far. And please, if you have any more questions, kindly type it in the chat box by the right of your screen. So the first question I have here is asking after any chance you'll be producing a short PDF for each of the graphics showing the basic dimensions. Okay, basically about sizes and dimensions of all the templates we have in Youzign. So I think we'll be creating an in-depth training tutorials for Youzign before we go public in a few weeks. And these tutorials will include sizes and dimension guides. So I will appreciate if you guys exercise a bit of patience with us on that game while we focus on perfecting all the features we have in Youzign for now. And I promise you, in a few weeks from now, we should have all the tutorials and guides with regards to sizes and dimensions ready. So the second question, you said look up backlinks to a site. Where is the URL? Can you give me the web address and the website, please? Okay. I think this person is asking after the URL of the tools that Nico mentioned from the start of the webinar. So what we're going to do is, like we did last week, we'll package a list of these tools and their respective URLs in a PDF after this webinar. Then I will mail this along with the webinar replay within the next 24 hours. So you can get a full list of all the tools he mentioned and their respective links where you can find them on the internet. The third question I have here is asking, you need to have slides for all the steps. Okay, I think we are short of some of the steps that Nico is taking on some of his graphic creation skills on the webinar. So what we're going to do is, going forward, we will actually create slides that will detail you guys on the steps he's taking with regards to all the tools he mentioned. And all the steps he's taking, like where he says he's going to do a research on Quora and use some Reddit and use Google Technorati and all that. We'll try to come up with slides that will detail you guys on the step to take on each of those sites and steps. I think that will really help out. So the third question I have here person is asking, how do I sign up for Youzign? Okay, at this moment, I'm going to take over the screen. Nico, I'm going to take over the screen from you and try to go over how they can sign up with us and be a part of the beta membership.
That sounds great.
Okay. So can you see my screen now?
I still can't see your screen. It's slowly doing the transfer. So if you all bear with me as it changes over, there you go. You can see it now.
Okay. So if you want to join the Youzign beta, please visit www.ynbproperties.com/Youzign beta. This will bring you to this page. This is a waterfall page where we have the Youzign beta offer available at the moment, and I just put in this URL in the chat box. You will see right on your screen by the chat box. So if you click on it, you will be taken to this Warrior Forum beta launch offer page where you can join us. And then if you have already purchased this Youzign beta and you can't access your account or you can't log in, please email support@ynbproperties.com and we will try to create you a manual. We'll try to create your account manually and send you access details so that you can be part of us at the Youzign beta Facebook group and enjoy the party over there. As you can see today, we've brought down the price again down to $47 and we have about 9 copies left for today. So if you're serious about joining Youzign beta offer, you should go ahead and grab this now, as we will take the offer down in the next 90 minutes to 120 minutes. That's 2 hours from now. So I think that is all the questions I have here, Nico. So if you can take over the screen maybe, and I don't think we have any other thing left at the moment, and maybe wrap up the webinar.
Yeah, no, that sounds really great. Thank you for just going over how to sign up there, Magnus. Like we said before, I hope you really found the webinar useful, and I hope you kind of information there about how to go about promoting your product, promoting your ideas, and also how to go about finding ideas, more importantly, as that starting point, and then how to go about finding ideas, finding the people that are influential in your niche, and then creating some really nice infographics, and then how to go about actually promoting those infographics and kind of getting the word out there, and of course getting more people to your website. And although it was a bit long, I hope you kind of got a really nice overview there of how I was using Youzign and kind of the flexibility that you had. And thanks again, Magnus, for just showing how to get actually signing up based on that question, because that's really useful.
Okay.
So thanks everyone for turning up to that.
Sorry, I have to cut in at that point. I still have a couple questions here that I would like to go through before you wrap up the webinar. If you just give me like a couple more minutes, please. Okay. So one question here, Jay is asking, is Youzign still on a special intro pricing? Yes, I think when we go public, Youzign will actually be a subscription-based product where the guys that come in late will be paying around $20 or $19.95 per month to use Youzign. But right now it is still at $47, and anybody that gets in at this moment will pay only $47 for lifetime access to Youzign. So this is a really nice price, and it is a steal. So if you're serious about joining Youzign beta, this is the right opportunity because in the next few weeks we're going to be taking this to a subscription-based offer, and the introductory price will just be unreachable anymore. So the next question I have here is, are you considering an education team? This can be useful for students and instructors. Okay, yes. Actually, these are all what we have in stock for Youzign. We're going to be making it very flexible for use in any industry. So if you are in the academic niche, be sure that we are going to be including a lot of templates that will help you to create either infographics or any kind of graphics that will be useful in your niche. So be rest assured that you will be covered, and we have a lot of academic theme and templates in Youzign as we go forward. Tom is asking, replay link will be appreciated. Okay, yes, Tom, we are actually recording the webinar, and within the next 24 hours, we are going to be mailing out the replay and the PDF that will contain all the tools that Nico mentioned and their respective URLs. So I think that would be a very resourceful gift for guys that attended the webinar, so that you can have something to refer to if you want to implement a couple of the things he just taught in the webinar. Musa is asking, when should we expect the previewer for infographics to be working? Yeah, the previewer for infographics should be pretty much ready in a couple of weeks before we go public. Actually, at the moment, we are fixing a couple of the new features and then trying to make everything perfect at the moment. The preview is actually easier to implement. That's why it's still on hold at the moment. But I assure you, before we go public in the next couple of weeks, the preview for most of the graphics, including those for Facebook, Twitter, and all of the other templates, should be available for you to use. Esther is asking, are we going to be able to add effects on text like shadows, outlines, and so on? Yes, I think someone suggested this feature in the Facebook group some time ago, and our developing manager, the designers, the guy that is heading our designers team, is actually looking into that to work out the UX for adding the test effects and all the shadows and stuff. So I think that would be a very nice feature to be added into Youzign, where someone can actually add effects and shadows with the click of a button. So John is working that out, and if he has any update for us, he will use the Facebook group to relate back to us. And I think it's very nice if we keep maybe once in a while you jump into the Facebook group and see what is happening there. There has been a lot of suggestions that has been implemented, and a lot still going on. I think that will be all with the Esther's question. Thank you, Esther. That will be all for the questions for today's webinar. And thank you guys for attending. We really appreciate your time and your support since we launched the Youzign beta, and all the suggestions and all the vibe in the Facebook group. We really appreciate all that. Thank you. So Nico, now over to you.
Yes, thanks again for all of those questions. There were some really, really interesting questions there, for clarifying that for everyone, Magnus. Like I said again, what we'll do at the end of this is we'll be sending out a PDF, all of the information that we kind of covered today in this webinar. And in addition to this, of course, we've got the Youzign offer, which Magnus has given you that link for. So you can, there's 2 hours basically. So you've got 2 hours, and if you kind of go through the process now, Magnus gave a very, very clear kind of description of how to go about. And that's really about it. So I hope everyone has a really, really great day, whatever kind of time it is for you guys, and enjoy yourselves.
Bye.